Kettlebell Drenga. Rating season is upon us once again. The 5th annual Twin Cities Kettlebell Open is coming, and registration is now open. On Saturday, September 13th, the steel will ring out once more at Northbound Training in Little Canada, Minnesota. Honorable warriors will test their mettle in person or through online video submission, all for their chance at glory. Fight for your clan, fight for your name, claim your spoils and your glory. Early entry is just $100, with raffle prizes for all competitors and cash prizes for the top in-person performers. Every lifter enters the battle. A few leave legends. Go now to TwinCitiesKettlebellClub.com to register today. Come, answer the call of battle, sign up today, and may your name forever ring out in the Hall of Champions. Go to TwinCitiesKettlebellClub.com. Welcome to the Platform Podcast, where we talk to coaches, athletes, experts, and real people to learn about their approaches to training, nutrition, mindset, and much more. I am your host, Jordan Kundi Wright, founder and head coach of the Twin Cities Kettlebell Club, and our mission is to become our best selves through sport. Now, today's episode is a quick solo episode, but it's timely in nature and it's an important topic, especially for those of you preparing for international competition. If you're not aware, the 2025 WKSF World Championships are coming up this weekend, June 5th through the 8th in Busto Arsizio, just outside of Milan, Italy. And I've got athletes flying out this week to get ahead of the time zone shift, dial in their rhythm, and give themselves the best chance to perform their best on the platform. Whether you're heading to Milan or traveling for future meets, this episode is all about practical, proven strategies to help beat jet lag and compete at your highest level. So, without further ado, let's step onto the platform to discuss beating jet lag for peak performance in competition. All right, welcome into the Platform Podcast. So, let's start with what we are really dealing with. What is jet lag? Jet lag is your body's internal clock, your circadian rhythm, getting thrown off by traveling across multiple time zones at a rapid rate, typically via plane or train. But if you do it in a very short period of time, it hits you hard. Now, obviously, the bigger the change is, the harder it's going to hit you. So traveling 3 or more time zones is really going to hit you hard. If you're just traveling 1 or 2, not as big a deal. That's a pretty minor adjustment. But when you're traveling across 3 or more time zones, it's going to hit you hard. Fatigue, sluggishness, brain fog, disrupted sleep, irritability, we've all felt it. But for athletes, it's especially challenging, and especially in a sport like kettlebell sport where timing, rhythm, and precision matter. And it's not just an inconvenience. It can literally wreck your lifts if you don't plan around it. I've heard many horror story of people who have trained really hard, had been putting up fantastic numbers in practice, and really thought they were going to go to their biggest competition and kick ass, and only to get there and have jet lag just completely wreck them. And they put up a number that they are not happy with or is nowhere close to what they were doing in training just weeks or even days before. So let's try and avoid that fate for you, because your CNS, your energy systems, your coordination all rely on your timing cues. So if you land in Europe and you've only slept for 4 hours and you're then heading to the hotel to get checked in and you're supposed to be on the platform the next day, you're really not setting yourself up to crush your PRs. So where do we start? Let's talk about strategies that you can incorporate before you actually get on the plane. So what can you do while you're still at your home time zone before you start traveling? So the first tip would be, number 1 is adjust your sleep-wake cycle early. So if you're heading east, like going to Milan for Worlds, start shifting your bedtime and your wake time 30 minutes earlier each day, at least 4 to 5 days out. So obviously the further out you can plan for it and start getting adjusted, the better that will be. You can only do this in a moderate amount. You can't shift 6 hours ahead, because the sunlight in your local time zone is going to disrupt your circadian rhythm, but you can start shifting it by a few hours. So over the course of 4, 5, 6 days, you can go from going to bed at 10 o'clock your time to 8 o'clock your time, right? And start getting your rhythms shifted, right? So, or vice versa, depending on which direction you're traveling. So for athletes I coach, we also start training at trying to at least start training at competition time equivalents even before they leave. So if your set is scheduled for 10 a.m. Milan time, but you're in Minnesota, that might require that you're training at 3 a.m. That's obviously not going to work, but it does work if you can do that. The more realistic you can make it, the better. Obviously, 10 a.m. A 10 a.m. set time being a 3 a.m. training time is not going to be ideal. But if you can train at 10 p.m. at night, that's going to help you start getting closer to your time. So I would say get your performance time as close to your scheduled training time, and you might have a window. You might not know exactly what your flight schedule looks like this far in advance. So, but try and get your window as close as possible to get your training windows aligned and to start adjusting your sleep-wake cycle. So that's one thing that you can do stateside. Tip number 2 is taper intelligently. You don't want to go hard in the gym right before you travel. This is one of those things that is always really hard for athletes to wrap their head around, because you know that you're going for your biggest set or something that you're most excited about, and they've been working so hard for it, and they don't want to lose their gains. They don't want to lose their progress, but you need to taper. The last few days are all about remaining fresh, being mobile, and getting your CNS recovered and ready for the stress that's about to come its way. And travel is a stress. So the taper is not just for your performance on the platform, it is also for your body's ability to handle the stress of traveling across many, many time zones to go compete. Okay. So you want to land feeling like you're a caged animal, not a sore one, right? So make sure that you taper intelligently. All right. Number 3, book your flight for performance. If you can travel when you want to, obviously it always depends on budget. It depends on the flexibility and the availability of flights around you. But if you can arrive in the late afternoon, that gives you time to settle in, walk, and then crash at a reasonable local bedtime, right? Another one that you can do is make sure that you pack everything that you need that's going to help you be able to get sleep, quality sleep in that local time zone as soon as you get there. So that can be a blackout eye mask, earplugs or earbuds, a neck pillow so you can sleep on the plane. Compression socks can help with circulation, so you don't get deep vein thrombosis. I chuckle, but that is a serious thing that can happen, and especially since you're going to then be going and training very intensely. Anything you can do to lower your risk of a blood clot while you're traveling, and then making sure you have sleep aid supplements like melatonin, magnesium. So really treat your carry-on like it is your recovery kit. Make sure you also international travel tip, make sure that you check the jurisdiction that you're traveling to so that you don't accidentally bring substances that are not allowed. You don't want to be like Brittany Griner traveling to Russia and getting arrested because you left your CBD THC vape pen in your carry-on, right? Make sure if you're taking gummies with you that they are allowed in the jurisdiction that you're traveling to. As someone who personally uses THC and CBD gummies to help me sleep, make sure that you check. When in doubt, err on the side of caution. So do not travel internationally with anything that could be considered a drug. Just just a hot travel tip. But usually melatonin, magnesium supplements like that are going to be generally safe to travel with. But make sure that you check. All right. So talk about what you do prior to leaving. Now, the next obvious step is, what do you do on the plane? So once you're on the plane, that's where the damage can really be minimized or compounded. So hydrate like your job depends on it. The cabin is going to be air dry. Every hour that you don't drink, you could be falling behind. So make sure that you are consistently taking in water. And yes, that will probably mean that you're going to need to get up and go to the bathroom during your flight. That is a good thing, because you need to keep circulation. You're going to want to move around some. You are not likely to be able to sleep the entire duration of a flight unless you're one of those weird mutants who can somehow sleep an entire 6, 7, 8 hours across the ocean in an airplane. I know very few people who can do that. And even people who book business class and can lay down struggle to do that traveling internationally. But if you're one of those people, fantastic. But for the rest of us, make sure that you're hydrating. That's a higher priority than the fantasy of being able to sleep the entire duration of the flight. So hydrate. Take your electrolytes if you like Element or you like Liquid IV. That can also help making sure that you're sustaining that water, or you're retaining that water, and getting your electrolyte balance in there. So skip alcohol on the plane. I know it's tempting to have the glass of whiskey or the wine or the champagne or the beer or whatever to help you maybe catch a few hours of sleep, but that alcohol is actually probably going to hurt you more than it helps you. It should go without saying, but also avoid caffeine. So I will say it, even though I said it goes without saying. Water is king here. So make sure you are drinking your water. Next, try to align your eating schedule to your travel destination. So in this case, Milan time. Even if it feels weird, start syncing your meals and your naps to your destination time zone as soon as you take off, right? So train your body early, and don't eat when they wouldn't be eating at that local time zone, because digestion is also a huge part of resetting our rhythms, right? So if you've ever had a big steak before you go to bed and then tried to sleep, and you get a terrible night's sleep because your stomach is full, it's trying to digest. Our body wants to slow down digestion while we're sleeping so that it can focus on recovery, right? And it starts winding down all systems, right? So we don't want to be digesting when we should be sleeping. So aligning your food intake schedule to your desired destination time zone as early as you can in the process is going to be great. That might mean that you don't eat very much on the plane. That is okay, right? Water, do not skip your water. But make sure that you really focus on your food schedule aligning with the eating schedule that you want to get your body to once you're off of the plane. And then I alluded to it with the drinking water, moving every couple of hours to avoid blood clots. Do squats in the galley if you have to, walk the aisle, stretch, keep the blood moving so you're not locked up when you land. You don't have the risk of blood clot. Do stretching, whatever type of stretching you can. People are going to look at you. Who cares? I have literally done jerks in the galley, waiting for the bathroom, air jerks, obviously with kettlebell air jerks, you perverts, making sure that I'm practicing that movement and just getting my body moving. It can be really, really helpful so that you come off the plane not feeling super, super stiff. And then last thing is, if you can sleep on the plane, sleep with some intentionality. Eye masks. I really love noise isolating headphones. The Bose Quiet Comfort are fantastic. I have some Shure in-ear monitors that are really, really good for that. But those are way more expensive. Take melatonin if you need it. And make sure that you're doing it in accordance with the new bedtime you're aiming for, not just when you're tired, right? So if you shouldn't be tired while you're on the plane, then don't be taking melatonin. But you want to be very intentional about trying to align your sleep schedule. So don't nap if you wouldn't be napping where you're going. That might mean that you're staying up, and you arrive tired, but that can be a very good thing because that can then help you. Then you just have to push through to be able to fall asleep on the local time, right? So sleep with intentionality on the plane. If you can get larger blocks of sleep because you're flying at night, great. If you have to catch a red eye because that's the cheapest flight and that's what you need to do to make it happen, okay, cool. See what time you're going to be landing and see how long you can stay up. Make sure that you're aligned with what the schedule is going to be. But if you're going to be flying at a time when you would be sleeping in Italy, then you will want to try and catch some sleep on the plane. Right? So that's what I mean by sleep with intentionality. Try and line it up very intentionally there. But take whatever equipment you need with you to be able to make that happen. All right. Now, once we get off of the plane and we have actually landed, then what do we do? The first 24 hours is critical. So this is where you're going to gain or lose ground probably the most quickly. Getting your body reset, getting your circadian rhythm reset to the local circadian rhythm is going to be the best possible thing that you can do to overcome jet lag. No matter how everything went pre-flight, in-flight, the best thing that you can do is this first 24 hours, really try and get your body set to the local time. So number one, get outside. Sunlight is your best friend. Those optic nerves in your eyes that connect to light sources, particularly sunlight, generate cortisol and also regulate melatonin, right? So the things that wake us up and the things that make us feel sleepy, right? When we're not getting as much light, we get more melatonin, so we get more sleepy. When we get more light, then we get more cortisol, which keeps us awake longer, right? So make sure that you are regulating to the sunlight as quickly as you can. Number two, avoid long naps. If you need to sleep when you shouldn't be sleeping local time, keep it under 30 minutes. Power naps, a 15 to 20 minute can help you overcome some tiredness and get some energy so that you can make it longer. But anything over 30 minutes is going to start putting you into deeper sleep cycles, and that is going to potentially mess with your ability to be able to get deep restorative sleep at the local time that you want to be. So it can make you really, really struggle. Your goal is to stay awake at least until 8-9 o'clock local time. I would push for 10 p.m. or later if you can, not necessarily later than 10 or 11, but you want to make sure that you are getting to that nighttime phase is really when you want your big sleep to happen, and naps can throw that off. All right, number 4, train lightly. You're going to want to move your body, and that is a good thing that can help you stay awake. But if you have access to bells and you feel the itch to get a session in, don't. A couple of minutes at most, right? Just getting your hands on bells is okay. Do mobility. Do a quick technique session, get some blood flowing, but let your body start adapting. I wouldn't even pick up my competition weights when the first day that I get there. I would go way lighter, probably 50%. So if you're competing on the 24s, do some sets with the 12s, right? Like don't go heavy, go light. Just get your body moving, get your hands on bells, totally fine. But you do not want to be getting a heavy training session in. You want to be moving your body and focusing on mobility. Melatonin, I have mentioned it a couple of times. Use it intelligently. Supplemental melatonin can help us fall asleep. It can help us stay asleep for the first phase of sleep, right? But you need to manage your dose. A small dose, like 0.5 milligram to 3 milligrams, 30 to 60 minutes before bed can help nudge you into that new rhythm that you need. You don't want to be taking huge amounts of melatonin. And if you regularly take melatonin, don't go over your normal dosages, right? You want to save your dosages for when you're going to be trying to go to bed. If you needed to take a little bit while you're on the plane to help you catch a nap, make sure that you moderate your dosage, your later dosage around that. You don't want to be doubling or tripling your dosage of melatonin, because that's also going to make it hard for you to then overcome the jet lag, right? So use melatonin sparingly and smartly. All right, and then control your light exposure. I mentioned get outside to early, to try and get sunlight right away. Bright light in the morning helps you reset. Dimming lights and screens in the evening keeps you from staying wired. So, especially when we're in a new country and we're having trouble sleeping, goal might or instinct might be to grab your phone and throw something on Facebook or scroll social media, look at Instagram, watch some YouTube videos. Try and avoid that. If you are struggling to sleep, try and avoid blue light exposure. If you're gonna look at blue lights, if you have blue light blocking glasses, like the one you can get them from Felix Gray, not a sponsor, not affiliated, but blue light blocking glasses can also help. So control your light exposure. Try not to look at screens. Read a book. That's going to be a lot more healthy way to try and fall asleep. So read a book in dim lighting, bright enough for you to actually be able to read the words, obviously, but again, controlling light exposure. All right, so we've talked about what we can do pre, during, and after we arrive to reset our rhythms. The one thing that I didn't really talk about is your mindset. Thinking about this and being intentional about this is very important. So whether you're en route already to Milan or you're dreaming about making future trips, just remember this: you can never eliminate jet lag, but you can out strategize it, right? This is something you're going to have to work through. It's like manipulate. It's like, working a water cut. There's science behind this. There's things that you can do to make it as easy as possible. Water cuts suck, but you can make them less painful by leveraging science. Same thing with jet lag. Jet lag sucks, and it's going to happen. When you travel that far, your body's going to struggle to adjust. But there are things that you can do to minimize the effects. People that do that, plan ahead, put the work in, try and build some buffer days, as many buffer days in as you can reasonably afford, for your travel budget. But stick to your game plan. Control what you can control, because if you've put the work in, you don't want your sleep schedule being jacked up to be the reason that you don't perform. The lifters who succeed are the ones who show up ready. They've planned ahead physically, mentally, and circadianly. Is that a word? I don't know. But if it's not, it is now. So do the work, plan the work, and show up as your best self. I really hope that this is a helpful episode for you. Please hit me in the comments, or if you have questions, you can send them to me at Twin Cities Kettlebell Club on Instagram, YouTube, and Twin Cities Kettlebell Club at gmail.com if you have questions. And of course, you can fill out the coaching interest form if you want more helpful information like this. And I'm going to keep putting out information like this. Hopefully you found it helpful. If you did, do the thing. Like, subscribe, share, send it out to friends, all of that. And if you are stepping on the platform this weekend, I wish you the best of luck. May all your reps count. May the clock move at the pace that you want it to move. And I hope that you have just a wonderful performance. And yeah, go get them. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be so freaking awesome. And if you're not traveling to Milan, or even if you are traveling to Milan and you're looking for another competition to sign up for, there are some awesome ones coming up. We got the Riddlestruck up in Canada in August, and then we've got my competition here in the Twin Cities on September 13th. And there are others as well. You can go to the Kettlebell Sport Almanac page on Facebook to find out other competitions that are available. I just want you to get out there and kick ass and do your best on the platform. So thank you for tuning in. And if you've got other tips or tricks or hacks that have worked for you on jet lag, please put them in the comments or send them to me. Until next time, we'll see you on the platform.